Welcome back to the deep dive. We're jumping into a topic today that's really shaking things up in health, fitness, even how we think about metabolism and, aging.
hmm It's definitely making waves. You probably heard about it, bits and pieces here and there.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into peptides. We've got quite a bit of material here, research papers, articles, notes.
And also really interesting personal stories. Someone who kind of went through the whole maze and ended up creating solutions.
Right. So our goal is to unpack what peptides actually are, look at their impact, especially weight management has been huge, and also how they're getting, well, easier to access for some people.
Yeah, basically guide you through what matters most here.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. What is a peptide? You hear the word thrown around a lot.
Okay, think of it like this. Proteins are made of amino acids, like Lego blocks.
Yeah, long chains.
Right. Peptides are just shorter chains of those same amino acids, usually like 2 to 50 blocks linked together. They're smaller than proteins.
Got it. So not something exotic, really.
Not at all. Your body, right now, is making thousands of different peptides. They're completely natural.
And what do they do, these short chains?
They're basically messengers, tiny instruction carriers for really important jobs.
Like what kind of jobs?
Oh, regulating hormones, telling tissues to repair themselves, stimulating growth, even controlling appetite signals. Fundamental stuff.
Wow. So they're crucial.
Absolutely. And the clever part is, scientists have learned how to identify specific peptides, make them in a lab.
And sometimes even tweak them a bit.
Exactly. Tweak them to make their effects stronger or last longer for, specific health goals.
Okay, that makes sense. And that leads us to probably the biggest area people are talking about peptides right now, weight loss.
The GLP-1s.
Right, the GLP-1 receptor agonists, names like semaglutide, tirzepatide, these are peptides.
They are, or they mimic peptides very closely. They work by copying a natural hormone our gut releases when we eat. It's called glucagon-like peptide 1.
GLP-1, got it.
Yeah. So when you eat, your gut naturally makes GLP-1, and it does a few key things. It signals to your brain that you're feeling full.
Okay.
It also slows down how fast your stomach empties, so you stay full longer. And it helps manage blood sugar by boosting insulin and lowering glucagon.
So these drugs, semaglutide and tirzepatide, they basically just turn up the volume on that natural signal.
That's a great way to put it. They amplify those
Yeah.
I'm full and slow down digestion signals.
And the results, well, they've been pretty dramatic for a lot of people, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. We're seeing studies and real-world results showing significant weight loss, 15–20% body weight, sometimes even more.
And often without people needing to go on, like, crazy crash diets or work out obsessively.
Right. For many, it addresses an underlying metabolic component that diet and exercise alone weren't fixing.
Yeah.
But there's a big but.
The cost.
The cost, it's astronomical. We're talking, what, $1,200, $1,500 a month sometimes, out of pocket.
Which most people just cannot afford.
Exactly. And what's really tricky now is that insurance companies are increasingly dropping coverage or making it super hard to get approved.
Even though the drugs work? That seems weird.
It's not about if they work. It's because they work so well and they're so popular, the sheer number of people using them is creating this massive cost burden for the insurers. It's a financial issue, not really a science one at this point.
Wow. So they work too well, in a sense, for the system.
You could say that, yeah.
Yeah.
Straining the budgets.
So that leads to a really important question. If these are effective tools, but the normal way doctor prescription insurance is getting blocked, what happens? What are people doing?
Right. And that's where this personal story comes in, the one from our sources. It's about Oz Cruz, the founder of a company called Harmony Compound.
Okay, tell us about him. His background wasn't originally in pharma or anything.
Yeah, not at all. He was deep into fitness, like high school sports, lifting, really passionate about it.
And he turned that into a business.
Yeah, he opened a fitness franchise. Maybe you've heard of it, known for their 6-week, 20-pound challenges. First in Arizona back in 2017.
Okay.
Then he actually opened a second one in Texas in 2019 while he was still living in California, working a full-time job and training every day. Super driven guy.
Wow, that's intense. So he saw people getting results in his gyms.
He did. People lost weight, for sure. But he also saw the other side.
Which
The
was?
struggle to keep it off. People would do the challenge, work incredibly hard, eat super strict, and then afterwards the weight would often creep back on.
Yeah, that's the classic problem.
Exactly. And it got him thinking, maybe extreme diet and exercise isn't the whole picture for everyone. Maybe there's something deeper going on, like hormonally or metabolically.
So she started digging.
Oh, yeah. About 5 years ago, way before peptides were like headline news, he went deep.
Mm.
Started researching things like CJC 1295, sermoronilins,
Mm.
peptides studied for growth hormone effects,
Mm.
and AOD 9604, which is linked to fat burning.
Right.
He wasn't just looking at the obvious stuff.
And beyond just peptides.
Yeah, he looked at hormone imbalances too, like how low testosterone or estrogen could totally sabotage someone's efforts, messing with energy, weight, all of it.
But trying to talk to regular doctors about this stuff.
That was frustrating for him. He found most primary care docs just weren't really trained in this area, or maybe weren't comfortable going beyond standard advice.
And then things got personal for him, right?
They really did. Despite knowing all this, eating super clean, working out daily, he started gaining weight himself. Got up to 245 pounds.
Even though he was doing everything right.
Everything. He tried keto, carb cycling, reverse dieting, you name it. Nothing worked. And he felt exhausted, no motivation, just completely frustrated, living the problem he'd seen in his clients.
What does the doctor say?
Initially, the classic, well, you're getting older, kind of dismissive.
Oof. That's tough to hear when you're putting in the work.
Right. But Oz didn't buy it. He pushed back, demanded more thorough testing, fought for comprehensive blood work.
And what did they find?
It was pretty revealing. His metabolic markers were low, like his body just wasn't processing energy efficiently. And the big surprise, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Wow. Despite eating clean.
Exactly. So when the doctors just told him, eat better, it felt completely disconnected from his reality. He knew what he was eating. It just showed this huge gap.
So that diagnosis, that frustration, that was the turning point.
That was the catalyst, yeah. It kind of validated all his research and pushed him to connect the dots.
What did he do?
He sought out doctors who did specialize in this stuff. Functional medicine, wellness docs, people who understood peptides and metabolic health on a deeper level.
Okay.
He learned exactly how things like GLP-1s and also lipo-B shots, which are often used for energy and fat metabolism, could actually target the problems his blood work showed.
And then he tried it himself.
He did. He basically became his own first client.
Yeah.
While he was stuck on a 3-month wait list to see an endocrinologist, he started treatment with compounded tirzepatide through one of these wellness docs.
Compounded. What does that mean exactly?
It means a licensed pharmacy prepares the medication specifically for him based on a doctor's prescription. It's a way to access the drug's active ingredient when the brand name is unavailable or unaffordable, but it has to be done by regulated pharmacies.
Gotcha. So what happened?
Well, by the time he finally got that endocrinologist appointment 3 months later, he'd already lost 30 pounds. And his follow-up tests, fatty liver was gone, blood work was clean, metabolic markers back to normal.
So the specialist must have been surprised.
Totally. The endocrinologist basically looked at the results and said, look, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It was complete validation.
And that experience led directly to Harmony Compound.
Directly. He saw how powerful these treatments could be, but also how hard they were to access affordably and reliably through the standard system. So he founded Harmony Compound to bridge that gap.
What's their model then? How do they make it accessible?
They focus on simplicity and removing barriers. So no mandatory membership fees, no consultation fees to get started, and they ship the compounded meds quickly.
And it's prescribed by doctors through regulated pharmacies.
Yes, that's key. It's not like some random website. You get a prescription from a board-certified doctor, and the medication is made in state-regulated, FDA-inspected compounding pharmacies. It's about providing legitimate access.
Okay, that clarifies the compounded aspect, but he's not stopping there, is he?
No, he's expanding. He mentioned he's launching something new in July called the Peptide Spot.
The Peptide Spot, how is that different from Harmony Compound?
It serves a slightly different purpose.
Yeah.
Harmony Compound is focused on those prescribed, medical-grade, compounded GLP-1s for specific conditions like weight loss under doctor supervision.
Right.
The Peptide Spot is going to offer a wider range of peptides, but specifically as research-grade compounds.
Research grade, what's the distinction?
It's a really important distinction. Research grade means they're intended for laboratory research or potentially animal studies, not for human medical use or consumption. They operate in a different regulatory space than prescribed medications.
So more for the biohacking community or personal research?
Exactly. People interested in exploring the potential effects seen in earlier research, understanding the risks involved because they aren't approved drugs. Harmony is the medical treatment path. Peptide Spot is the research path.
What kind of peptides will be on the Peptide Spot?
Things like BPC 157, that one gets a lot of buzz for potential tissue repair and gut health. TB500, also linked to recovery, and MK677, which is studied for affecting growth hormone levels, stuff that's more in the experimental or research realm for humans.
Interesting. So two different avenues. And how does Oz feel now, personally?
He says, at 56, he feels like he's 25 again, which is a pretty powerful statement about addressing those underlying issues.
Yeah, definitely. And if people want to learn more about Harmony Compound or get updates on the peptide spot,
He gave his email, oz@harmonycompound.com, or you can find their website and get on the email list for that July launch of the Peptide Spot.
okay, great. So wrapping this up, peptides sound futuristic, but really, they're fundamental parts of us, aren't they?
Totally. They're natural biological messengers. We're just learning how to work with them more effectively.
And Oz's story, it really highlights this tension, doesn't it, between these really innovative, effective treatments and the roadblocks cost, insurance that stop people from accessing them.
Absolutely. His companies, Harmony Compound and the Peptide Spot, are basically one response to that gap, trying to create legitimate pathways, whether medical or research-focused.
It really shows how, when the standard answers like just age or eat better don't cut it, pushing further and understanding the deeper science can actually lead to breakthroughs.
Significant personal change is possible when you look beyond the surface.
So here's something to chew on. If these compounds, peptides, which are already in us but maybe weren't well understood or accessible, can have such a big impact when we do figure out how to use them, what else is waiting to be unlocked?
Yeah, what potential is lying dormant just beyond what conventional medicine currently focuses on? It's a fascinating question about the future of health.
Definitely something to think about.
Keep digging. Keep asking questions.
That wraps up this deep dive. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.